My mother took $52,000 from the inheritance my grandmother left me. She used it to reserve my younger sister's dream wedding in the mountains. My father announced the decision at Thanksgiving dinner as if I had volunteered. My sister lifted her champagne glass and thanked them for being the most generous parents in the world. Her fiancé aimed his phone at me, waiting for a reaction he could post later. When I demanded the money back, my mother said, "You're the strong daughter. You'll recover." Then my parents gave me 72 hours to apologize for ruining the celebration. When I refused, my future brother-in-law called my workplace and told my boss I was mentally unstable. But what none of them knew was that the carpenter they mocked across the dinner table had spent the past 8 months negotiating to purchase the exact lodge they had booked with my money. And when my parents forced me onto a stage to publicly surrender, they ended up confessing their entire plan in front of everyone they had lied to. It began with the quiet tap of a silver spoon against my mother's gravy boat. One light, precise chime. 14 people stopped talking around the Thanksgiving table. My mother, Patricia Hale, smiled as though she had rehearsed the moment in front of a mirror. She probably had. My parents lived outside Chattanooga in a 2-story brick house where everything matched. The cream dining room walls matched the linen napkins. The brass chandelier matched the candlesticks. Even the family photographs along the staircase seemed arranged to show a life without resentment, debt, or raised voices. At the center of the long walnut table sat a turkey large enough to feed twice as many people. Across from me, my younger sister Tessa was checking the lighting on her phone. At 26, Tessa had built a modest online following around bridal fashion beauty products and what she called intentional Southern living. Her account was full of slow-motion coffee pours, pastel outfits, and family photographs that never included the arguments before or after the camera came out. Her fiancé, Landon Price, sat beside her. Landon worked as a mortgage broker and drove a black Mercedes he leased because he liked telling people what the monthly payment would have been if he had bought it. Beside me sat Cole Mercer. Cole had come directly from a restoration project. Pale sawdust clung to one shoulder of his dark flannel shirt, and his work boots were scratched from years of job sites. My father had looked at the boots 3 times since we arrived. Landon had photographed them once under the table. Cole noticed. He said nothing. My mother folded her manicured hands. "Before dessert, your father and I have some wonderful family news." Tessa lowered her phone. Her expression changed immediately, her camera-ready smile sliding into place. My father, Glenn, lifted his wine glass. "A cancellation opened at Laurel Crest Lodge for March 22nd. Tessa gasped. "Number?" "Yes," my father said proudly. "Your mother and I reserved the entire property for your wedding weekend." Tessa screamed. Actually screamed. She jumped from her chair and threw both arms around our mother. Landon slapped the table. "That is huge." Aunt Denise began clapping. My cousins joined her. Someone shouted that Laurel Crest was impossible to book. They were right. The lodge sat on a wooded ridge outside Asheville with cabins, mountain views, and an old timber reception hall. It was elegant without looking like a palace, exactly the kind of place middle-class families dreamed about, and then quietly removed from their lists after seeing the price. Tessa had been posting photographs of it for months. She called it her manifestation venue. "How did you get the date?" she asked. "A corporate retreat canceled," my mother said. We moved quickly. Tessa reached for Landon's hand. "This changes everything. The location alone will double the value of the wedding content." I looked at my parents. "What did the deposit cost?" The room changed, only slightly. My mother's smile remained, but she glanced at my father before answering. "It was substantial." "How substantial?" My father set down his glass. "Maren, don't turn a happy announcement into an accounting meeting. I'm only asking how you paid for it." My mother placed her napkin carefully across her lap. "Well, she said that brings us to your part of the surprise." Something cold moved through my stomach. "My part. Your father and I authorized a transfer from the account Grandma June established for you." For a moment, I thought I had misunderstood. "What account?" My father gave me an impatient look. "Your inheritance account, Maren." The candles continued flickering. Someone's chair creaked. The refrigerator hummed from the kitchen. I heard all of it. My grandmother June had left me a little over $60,000 when she died. She had earned the money from 40 years of alterations, work hemming prom dresses, repairing uniforms, and sewing wedding gowns in the back room of her small shop. The account remained under my parents' management until I turned 30. My birthday was 19 days away. "How much did you transfer?" My mother answered softly. 52,000. Cole stopped moving beside me. I stared at her. You took $52,000 from Grandma's account. We did not take it, she said. We used it for the family. For Tessa's wedding. For a once-in-a-lifetime family event. Tessa slowly sat down. Her excitement had faded, but she did not look shocked enough. I noticed that. Did you know? I asked her. She looked toward our mother. Tessa, Mom told me you would understand after you calmed down. The truth landed between us. Not only had Tessa known the money might be mine, she had known I had not agreed. My father cleared his throat. Your mother and I are still responsible for that account. We made a judgment call. You made it 19 days before I gained control. We made it when the date became available. Without calling me. You would have overthought it, my mother said. I laughed once. You mean I would have said no? My mother's mouth tightened. You have always been protective of money. I worked for everything I have, and that is exactly why you will be fine. There it was. The sentence that had followed me my entire life. Maren will be fine. When I worked nights through college, I would be fine. When my car broke down and my parents refused to help, I would be fine. When Tessa ran up $9,000 on credit cards, and I paid part of it because my mother said she was emotionally overwhelmed, I would be fine. When Tessa cried, everyone moved toward her. When I cried, everyone reminded me that I was strong. That money was supposed to help me buy a home, I said. My father shrugged. You and Cole are young. I am almost 30. Exactly. You have time to earn more. And Tessa doesn't. Tessa's eyes filled with tears. Why are you attacking me? I'm asking why my future is less important than your wedding. It is not less important, my mother said. It is simply more flexible. Cole finally spoke. His voice was quiet. The money needs to be returned. My father turned toward him. This is a family discussion. She is my family. The table went silent again. My father looked at Cole's faded shirt and scratched work boots. Then he smiled. It was not a kind smile. I know you spend your days tearing out old kitchens, but adults sometimes make financial decisions that people in your line of work may not understand. Cole held his gaze. I restore historic buildings. You swing a hammer, when necessary. Landon laughed from across the table. Come on, man. Nobody robbed Maren in an alley. Cole looked at him. No. They waited until 19 days before she could stop them move the money without telling her and expected her to smile when they announced it. My father's face reddened. Be very careful. Return it within 72 hours. Landon lifted his phone. Or what you'll threaten us with your construction crew. Turn the camera off, I said. He smiled. If you are so sure you're right, why do you care who sees this? Tessa pressed a tissue beneath one eye. This was supposed to be the happiest announcement of my life. I looked at her. Tell them to return the money. She froze. Tessa, I repeated. Tell them you will not accept a wedding paid for from my inheritance. Her mouth opened. Then she looked at my mother. My mother looked at my father. Nobody spoke. That silence answered me. I pushed back my chair. My mother's expression hardened. Maren, sit down. Number. You are not walking out in the middle of Thanksgiving. You walked into my account in the middle of October. Aunt Denise whispered my name in warning. My father dropped his napkin beside his plate. Enough. Your mother and I had the authority to make the transfer. Authority is not consent. You are acting like a spoiled child. I am the only person at this table being asked to pay for someone else's celebration. Cole stood beside me. My mother rose. Come into the kitchen. It was not a request. I followed her because some small, foolish part of me still believed she might apologize once we were away from the audience. Cole came with me. The kitchen smelled like butter coffee and the apple pie cooling near the window. My mother closed the swinging door. Your sister is crying. She can cry at a less expensive venue. Maren, you took almost everything Grandma left me. We invested in something meaningful. To Tessa. To the family. Then why didn't the family vote? My mother's patience vanished. You have always been stronger than Tessa. I stared at her. You keep saying that like strength is permission to take from me. You recover from disappointment. Tessa doesn't. That is not my fault. No, but it is reality. Cole stepped closer. Patricia, stop. She ignored him. This wedding could change Tessa's career. She already has businesses interested in working with her. You supervise boxes in a warehouse. You have a stable paycheck. She has to create opportunities. Her words were so sharp that even she seemed surprised by them. I worked for a medical supply distributor. I coordinated shipments to hospitals, clinics, and home care patients across 3 states. To my mother, I supervised boxes. To Tessa, a wedding was a career. Grandma left that money to me, I said. Your grandmother indulged you. The cruelty was deliberate. She believed you were the forgotten child because you complained to her whenever you felt overlooked. My throat tightened. Cole moved between us slightly. My mother continued, "You are almost 30 years old. You have a job. You have a boyfriend. You should not still be clinging to money from a dead woman." Something inside me changed, not shattered, settled. For years I'd been waiting for the right words to make my mother understand me. Now I realized she understood exactly where to hurt me. "You have 72 hours, I said. Her brows lifted. "To do what? Return the money. Or I stop treating this like a family misunderstanding." Her face went flat. "If you bring outsiders into this, do not expect your father and me to include you in our estate." There it was. The next leash. A future inheritance dangled in exchange for silence. I looked at her carefully. "You believe I will let you steal from me now because you might leave me something later. We are reminding you that choices have consequences. So am I." I returned to the dining room and put on my coat. Everyone watched. Tessa's face was wet. Landon's phone remained raised. My father refused to look at me. I paused at the door. "My whole life you told me I was the strong one because it made giving me less sound like a compliment." No one spoke. "Not anymore." My father finally turned. "If you leave, don't expect us to chase you." I opened the door. "I have spent 30 years chasing you." The cold air rushed inside. Behind me, Tessa said, "You're really destroying Thanksgiving over money." I looked back at her. "No. You are watching Mom and Dad destroy their relationship with me because they assumed I would survive it." Then Cole and I left. The door closed quietly behind us. For the first time in my life, I did not turn around to see whether anyone followed. No one did. Monday morning, I called the company managing my grandmother's account. I made the call from our kitchen before work. Cole had already left for a project near Asheville. For the past several months, he had been spending 2 or 3 days a week there, helping his company inspect an old hospitality property. I knew Mercer Ridge Restoration was growing. I did not know how much. He had described the Asheville project only as the largest deal we've ever tried. I was too consumed by my own crisis to ask more. The account manager placed me on hold twice before a supervisor joined the call. "Ms. Hale," he said, "our records indicate that you verbally approved a gift to your sister." I did not. The authorization was recorded by Patricia Hale, my mother. "Yes. What exactly does it say?" I heard paper moving. "That you considered the account a family blessing and wanted part of it used to make your sister's wedding special." My hand tightened around the phone. My mother had written words for me. She had not only taken my money, she had created a version of me who thanked her for doing it. I never said that. There were 4 transfers over 5 weeks. Why 4? A brief silence. Smaller withdrawals do not receive the same automatic review as one large transfer. They had planned it. They had not panicked when the venue date opened. They had been moving money before Thanksgiving, dividing it carefully while waiting for the perfect moment to present the theft as a gift. "Freeze whatever remains," I said, "and send me the records." That was all I needed from the financial side. A false note. 4 planned transfers. No consent. The rest was not really about banking. It was about whether my family could make everyone believe their version of me. By lunch, my father sent an email. The subject line read, "Think about what you are doing." He wrote that ungrateful daughters did not remain in wills. He said parents had the right to make difficult family decisions. He said my grandmother would have wanted me to share. I saved the message. Then I returned to work. The next afternoon, my manager called me into her office. Cynthia was in her late 40s, practical and calm, with reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck. She shut the door. A man named Landon Price called reception. My stomach dropped. "What did he say?" "He said you were going through an emotional crisis and making threats toward your family." I felt the room tilt. "He said they were worried you might become unstable at work." "That is not true." I did not think it was. Cynthia studied me. "What is happening?" "My parents took $52,000 from an account my grandmother left me. They used it for my sister's wedding. I demanded it back." Cynthia leaned back. "And her fiancé called your employer?" "Yes." Her mouth tightened. "Your job is safe." Relief weakened my knees. "I'm sorry this reached work." "You have nothing to apologize for." She removed her glasses. "But document everything. Do not let them drag you into an angry public fight." "I won't." At the door, she stopped me. "Maren." I looked back. Being capable does not mean people are allowed to harm you because they assume you'll manage. The sentence nearly broke me. A woman who had known me 4 years understood something my parents had refused to acknowledge in 30. That evening, I contacted Evelyn Shaw, an attorney recommended by a coworker. Evelyn worked above a pharmacy and wore bright red glasses. She listened to the story, reviewed the account note, and said only one thing that mattered. Your family will try to make this about your personality. They already have. They will call you jealous, ungrateful, difficult. They may discuss your relationship, your job, or every mistake you made as a teenager. She tapped the false authorization note. Do not follow them into those arguments. Keep returning to one sentence. What sentence? I did not consent. I repeated it. I did not consent. That is the center of the story. Do not let them move it. By Thursday evening, Landon posted a photograph of Cole's truck. It was an old blue Ford with faded paint and a dent beside the rear wheel. Cole used it to haul lumber tow equipment and reach job sites that Landon's Mercedes would never survive. Landon had parked beside it at my parents' house and taken a picture from an angle designed to make the truck look especially worn. His caption read, "Maybe if some men earned real money, their girlfriends wouldn't care so much about sharing with family." 30 relatives saw it. A cousin added a laughing emoji. Aunt Denise commented, "Money reveals people's true character." I stared at the photograph until Cole came home. He set 2 takeout containers on the counter and looked over my shoulder. They photographed my truck. It is supposed to prove you're poor. Cole examined the image. That truck is paid for. Despite everything, I laughed. He smiled, then read the comments. His expression changed when he reached Aunt Denise's. Do you want me to say something? Number. Good. You wouldn't respond. A man who stages a photograph beside another man's work truck is already responding to something inside himself. He placed the phone face down. Eat. Saturday morning, Tessa posted a video. She sat near a bright window wearing a cream sweater, her eyes red, her voice breaking at carefully measured moments. I never believed someone in my own family would try to destroy my wedding because she couldn't stand to see me happy. She never used my name. She did not have to. She described the money as a gift our parents had chosen to provide. She said Cole had manipulated me. She said I had threatened our mother. The video reached 18,000 views before noon. The comments came quickly. Cut jealous people out. Your sister sounds toxic. Some women cannot handle watching another woman win. Then the family messages began. Aunt Denise told me to stop punishing Tessa. Uncle Ray said I was embarrassing everyone. A cousin I had not spoken to in years said my grandmother would be ashamed. That message hurt enough to make me sit down. Grandma June had once told me, some families call silence loyalty because silence protects the person doing the harm. My mother called 11 times. I ignored every call. Her text arrived shortly afterward. Tessa's sponsors are asking questions. You are damaging her livelihood over money you did not earn. Money I did not earn. Grandma had spent decades bent over sewing machines to earn it. My mother erased her labor as easily as she erased mine. Cole found me sitting on the bedroom floor. He watched Tessa's video in silence. When it ended, he locked the phone. Get dressed. Why? I want to show you something. I don't want to see anyone. You won't. He drove north towards the mountains. The city gave way to narrow roads, bare trees, and old farmhouses. After nearly an hour, he turned onto a gravel lane marked by a rusted mailbox. At the end of the drive stood an abandoned 2-story farmhouse. Its white siding had faded gray. One porch column leaned. Vines climbed the stone chimney and tall grass surrounded an old red barn. The house was neglected, but it was still standing. What is this? I asked. A purchase option. I turned toward him. You bought it? No. I paid for the right to inspect it and decide later. For whom? For us, if we both want it. Inside dust covered the floors. Water stains marked one ceiling. Cheap wood paneling hid the fireplace. Cole pulled up a corner of old linoleum, revealing wide pine boards beneath it. Good foundation, he said. Most of the damage looks worse than it is. I stared at the exposed floor. My parents stole the money that was supposed to help us buy a home. They stole money, he said. That matters. He looked at me. But they did not steal your ability to build a life. I walked to a dirty window overlooking the overgrown field. How could we afford this without the inheritance? Cole leaned against the wall. Mercer Ridge has grown more than I have explained. I turned. How much more? He took a breath. I founded the company with my friend Marcus 14 years ago. We started with porch repairs and old houses. Now we restore historic inns, small apartment buildings, and event properties. I know that part. We also own 3 of the properties we restored. 3, not 12 hotels. Not some secret empire. Still far more than I had understood. You own 3 inns. Mercer Ridge owns them. I own part of Mercer Ridge. How large a part? 42%. I stared at him. Why didn't you tell me? I told you I was a partner. You let me believe you were a small contractor. I was a small contractor when we met. That was 3 years ago. You're right. His immediate agreement made me angrier. You cannot keep financial information from me and call it protection. I know. No, you know now because I found out. He lowered his eyes. My mother's family changed when the company became successful. People who ignored us arrived with emergencies, investments, and expectations. I stopped telling anyone numbers. I am not your relatives. Number. Then you should have trusted me. Yes. The answer came quietly. I folded my arms. What does this house have to do with the Asheville project? Cole hesitated. Mercer Ridge is trying to buy Laurel Crest Lodge. For a moment I thought I had misheard him. Tessa's wedding venue. Yes. You have been negotiating to purchase it for 8 months. Does my family know? Number. Can you cancel their wedding? Not because I dislike them. That was not what I asked. If the disputed payment is returned, the reservation cannot remain secured. My pulse quickened. Is the money still there? Most of it. Laurel Crest has not paid the vendors yet. I looked around the ruined farmhouse. You knew that when we came here. I learned it Friday after I asked the current manager to review the payment. And you did not tell me. I was waiting until I knew whether the sale would close. I shook my head. Cole, everyone around me keeps deciding what information I can handle. His face changed. You're right. I don't need another person planning my future quietly. You're right. I am not going to Riverstone Hall signing something or buying this house because you created a plan. I don't want you to. Then what do you want? For you to know you have choices. He stepped back, giving me space. The house is only an option. Laurel Crest is only a business purchase. You decide what you want to do about your family. I looked at him for a long moment. No more secrets. No more secrets. No property decisions without a full conversation. Agreed. And if your company buys Laurel Crest, you do not turn this into some rich man revenge fantasy. A slight smile touched his mouth. I'm not rich enough for that. I'm serious. So am I. He pointed toward this fireplace. I repair buildings. Sometimes that means removing the wall someone used to hide the damage. I looked at the cheap paneling. Then I looked at him. What happens if we remove this? Possibly brick. He handed me a pry bar. Together we pulled away one loose section. Behind it was an original red brick fireplace. Not perfect. Not untouched. Still worth saving. The 72 hours passed. My parents returned nothing. Evelyn sent a written demand. Their response was an old text I had sent Tessa after a breakup 6 years earlier. I had given her $200 for groceries and written, "What's mine is yours. I love you." My parents claimed it showed that I voluntarily shared money with my sister. Evelyn called me. "It does not prove you approved $52,000, she said. But they are using it to create confusion. How long can they keep doing this? As long as they believe you will become exhausted. I sat in my car outside work while rain moved across the windshield. They know I'm always the one who gives in. Yes. What do I do? Decide what protects your future. Do not make the rest of your life about forcing people to admit something they already know. That evening my mother texted, "We are willing to discuss a peaceful solution." I called her. Cole sat across the room, not listening closely enough to control the conversation, but near enough that I did not feel alone. My mother answered immediately, "Maren, thank goodness. What do you want?" "We want the family to heal." "How?" "Tessa's wedding celebration dinner is next Saturday at Riverstone Hall. And we would like you to attend and make a brief statement." "What statement?" "That the money was intended as a family gift, and that you support your sister." "You want me to lie?" "We want you to correct the damage you caused." "What happens after I make the statement?" "You sign a release. Then the financial dispute ends." My jaw tightened. They needed my signature. Without it, the false authorization remained only my mother's claim. Why at the dinner? "Tessa has been attacked publicly. The healing should also be public." "You mean my surrender should be public?" "Maren, do not use that language." "What happens if I sign? Your father and I will consider helping you with a home later." Another promise. Another future reward they could withdraw whenever I stopped obeying. "And if I refuse?" My mother was silent. I looked at Cole. He watched me carefully. "I'll attend," I said. Relief flooded her voice. "Oh, sweetheart, I knew you would come back to yourself." She hung up believing she had won. I placed the phone down. Cole waited. "They need the release because Laurel Crest has not spent the money," I said. "Yes." "If I sign, they can argue the payment was voluntary." "Yes." "And if I do not?" "If Mercer Ridge closes the purchase Friday, The lodge's new manager intends to return the disputed deposit. How much? 48,600. Nearly all of it. I closed my eyes. For the first time since Thanksgiving, I could breathe fully. They want me on a stage because they think shame will make me sign. Cole nodded. My mother left you messages, didn't she? He hesitated. No more secrets, I reminded him. He handed me his phone. The first voicemail was from my mother. Maren has always become difficult when she feels overlooked. She will calm down once she understands no one supports this tantrum. Please bring her Saturday and make sure she signs. Tessa cannot lose Laurel Crest because Maren suddenly wants attention. The second message was from my father. Keep quiet at the dinner, and you may remain welcome in this family. Maren needs to understand what happens when she chooses a construction worker over the people who raised her. Once she signs, this ends. I stared at the phone. Do you want to play these at Riverstone? Only if you choose to. They'll say they were angry. Probably. They'll call me cruel. They already do. I stood and walked toward the window. I don't want a lawyer giving a speech. I don't want a screen full of documents. I don't want you threatening anyone. Neither do I. I want them to answer one question. What question? Why did they take the money before my birthday if they believed I agreed? Cole nodded. And if they refuse? They won't. How do you know? Because my father cannot tolerate looking powerless, and my mother cannot tolerate losing control of the story. For the first time, I understood something important. I did not need to prove every lie. I only needed to give them enough space to tell the truth themselves. Saturday evening, I wore a dark blue dress and my grandmother's silver earrings. Cole wore a charcoal suit. It fit him too well for my father's version of him, but he drove the same faded Ford to Riverstone Hall. The parking lot was full of polished cars. Landon's Mercedes sat near the entrance. Should we have washed the truck? I asked. I did. It still looks terrible. It looks clean and terrible. I laughed despite myself. Inside, white flowers and candlelight filled the hall. A wooden sign read, "The Price Wedding Era." Tessa's branding had already swallowed her marriage. Near the bar, one table displayed products from companies sponsoring the dinner: skincare bottles, candles, sparkling drinks, and bridal gift boxes. A hostess checked our names. When she found mine, she said, "Oh, not welcome. Just oh." Aunt Denise approached first. She hugged me stiffly. "I'm relieved you're ending this. I agreed to attend. You know what I mean. Did Mom tell you I had approved the money?" Aunt Denise glanced around. "This is not the place. She wants me to say it on stage. Apparently this is exactly the place." Her expression tightened. "You always make everything harder." "No, I make it harder to pretend." She walked away. Tessa stood near the stage in a white satin dress. She crossed the room quickly and embraced me for the benefit of the guests. "Thank you," she whispered. "Please do not make tonight ugly. Have you told Mom and Dad to return my money?" Her smile remained fixed. "We are not discussing that here." "When are we discussing it?" "After the wedding." "The money will be gone after the wedding." Her eyes cooled. "You have a job. Cole owns a company. You will rebuild it. Again, I would survive. Therefore, they could take. Being able to survive what someone does to you does not make what they did acceptable." Tessa released me. "You always have to sound morally superior." Landon joined us. He looked at Cole's suit. "Borrowed." "No," Cole said. "Good month in demolition. Better than average." Landon smiled. "I saw the Mercer Ridge logo on a property near Asheville last week." Cole said nothing. "Big subcontract. Something like that." My father arrived holding a glass of bourbon. He did not greet me. "You brought the release. It is in my purse." "Good." He looked at Cole. "Stay out of the family discussion tonight." Cole's expression remained pleasant. "I plan to let the family speak for itself." My father frowned but was called away before he could respond. At 8 o'clock, my mother gathered everyone toward the stage. Around 150 people turned their chairs forward. Tessa took the microphone. She thanked her sponsors. She thanked Landon. She thanked our parents for believing in the dream before anyone else could see it. Then she began speaking about forgiveness. "Families sometimes hurt each other," she said. "But love is choosing unity over pride." My mother dabbed at her eyes. My father stood beside the stage holding the release and a black fountain pen. Tessa looked toward me. "Maren, will you join us?" Every face turned. This was the moment they had designed. The difficult sister returning. The responsible daughter repairing the family. The victim validating the people who had harmed her. I stood. Cole squeezed my hand once. Then he let go. I crossed the room and stepped onto the stage. My mother hugged me. "Do the right thing," she whispered. My father handed me the release. Tessa offered me the microphone. I looked down at the pages. Then I looked at my mother. What exactly would you like me to say? Her smile tightened. That you support your sister and acknowledge the money was given with your approval. Did I approve it? A murmur moved through the room. My father stepped forward. Maren, this is not the time. You brought me onto the stage to discuss it. This is the exact time. My mother lowered her voice. We discussed sharing with Tessa many times. Did I approve $52,000 for Laurel Crest? You told your sister what was yours belonged to her. For $200 worth of groceries 6 years ago. Tessa reached for this microphone. This is what we were afraid she would do. I turned to her. What were you afraid I would do? Make everything about yourself. No, be specific. Tessa looked toward our mother. My mother gave her a warning expression. That was enough to make me understand. Tessa, I said when Mom told you they had booked Laurel Crest, did she tell you I had agreed? Tessa's lips parted. Landon whispered, Don't answer that. I looked at him. She does not need your permission. Tessa's face flushed. She said you would eventually agree. The room quieted. I took one step closer. Eventually, Tessa's eyes filled with panic. She said you always gave in after everyone stopped taking your side. My mother closed her eyes. The sentence hung in the air. Aunt Denise stood near the front table. Patricia. She said you told us Maren had offered the money. My mother forced a laugh. Tessa is upset. She is wording it badly. I kept my eyes on my mother. Did you write in the account record that I had already agreed? Maren. Did you? My father grabbed the microphone from my hand. Enough. His voice boomed through the hall. We did what was necessary because you would have stopped us after your birthday. Silence. Complete silence. My father realized what he had said. Too late. I looked at him. So you moved the money before I gained control because you knew I would say no. His face reddened. We knew you would be selfish. Aunt Denise stared at him. You told us she gave it willingly. My father pointed at me. She had 19 days left. The venue was available. We were not going to lose Tessa's opportunity because Maren cannot think beyond herself. My mother reached for his arm. Glenn, stop. But he had lost control. She always survives. She always lands on her feet. Tessa needed this more. I took back the microphone. There it was. Not a misunderstanding. Not a gift. A choice. They had decided my security mattered less because they believed I could endure losing it. Tessa turned toward our mother. You promised she would sign tonight. Another murmur moved through the room. My mother stared at her. Tessa, you said once she saw everyone supporting us she would stop fighting. My mother's face went white. The entire plan was now standing in the open. Use the money before my birthday. Turn the family against me. Damage my reputation. Bring me onto a stage. Make me surrender under the weight of everyone watching. Cole walked toward the sound booth. My mother saw him. What are you doing? Giving context. He handed his phone to the technician. My mother's voicemail played through the speakers. Maren has always become difficult when she feels overlooked. She will calm down once she understands no one supports this tantrum. Please bring her Saturday and make sure she signs. No one moved. Then my father's voice filled the hall. Keep quiet at the dinner, and you may remain welcome in this family. Once she signs, this ends. The recording stopped. Aunt Denise looked at my mother as though she no longer recognized her. You used all of us, she said. My mother shook her head. We were trying to keep the family together. You told us Maren was jealous. She was attacking her sister. She was asking for her own money. Around the room, people lowered their phones. For weeks, my parents had relied on relatives repeating a story they had never questioned. Now those same relatives were looking directly at them. A woman with short silver hair stepped forward from the back of the room. Cole handed her the microphone. My name is Laura Kim, she said. I am the incoming general manager of Laurel Crest Lodge. Tessa's expression brightened with desperate hope. Are you here about the planning appointment? Number. Laura looked at the room. Laurel Crest was informed that the primary payment for the Price Hale wedding is disputed by the account beneficiary. My father stepped forward. Maren is signing the release. I held up the unsigned pages. No, I'm not. Laura nodded. Without her confirmation, the lodge cannot keep the funds. Tessa stared at her. What does that mean? The reservation has been canceled. The words seemed to remove all the air from Tessa's body. Number. The lodge is returning $48,600 to the original account. No, Tessa repeated. You cannot cancel my wedding. The reservation was secured with money the account beneficiary says she never approved. Landon moved toward Laura. We signed an agreement. The disputed deposit is being returned before services are provided. This is insane. Laura stepped aside. Cole accepted the microphone. Mercer Ridge Restoration completed its purchase of Laurel Crest yesterday. My father stared at him. What does your employer have to do with this? It is not my employer. Cole's voice remained calm. I co-founded Mercer Ridge 14 years ago. My business partner and I still operate it. Landon laughed. You own the company, 42% of it. You expect us to believe a man driving that truck owns event properties? Cole looked toward the windows. The truck is paid for. A few people laughed. Landon did not. Cole continued. Laurel Crest is the largest property our company has purchased. We spent 8 months negotiating the deal. This was not a hotel empire. It was not a billionaire revealing himself. It was a carpenter who had spent 14 years building a serious business, while people like my father mistook work clothes for failure. My father pointed at him. You bought the venue to punish us. The purchase began 8 months before your wife moved Maren's money. Cole handed the microphone back to Laura. The lodge did not cancel because I dislike you. It canceled because the payment was disputed and Maren refused to lie. Tessa turned toward me. Maren, please. That word again. Please fix it. Tell them you changed your mind, she said. Tell them you approve it now. Number. You can get the money back later. Number. This is my wedding, and it was my inheritance. You're destroying everything. Landon leaned toward her. What happens to the sponsor package? Tessa looked at him. What? The campaign was based on Laurel Crest. The cabins, the mountain content, the vendor weekend. My wedding is not a campaign. That isn't what I meant. Yes, it is. He lowered his voice. Without the lodge, there is no campaign. Tessa stared at him. For the first time, she appeared to see the man she planned to marry without the filter's photographs and promised exposure surrounding him. Her hand slowly dropped from his. The engagement ring caught the candlelight. My mother stepped toward me. We can resolve this privately. You had that opportunity at Thanksgiving. Think about your sister. I have spent my entire life thinking about what everything will do to Tessa. You are humiliating us. Number. My voice remained calm. You invited everyone here to watch me surrender. I looked at my mother. When I needed help, you called me capable. When Tessa needed help, you called her fragile. You made me pay for my own strength, while rewarding every weakness she refused to outgrow. My mother's eyes filled with tears. We loved you both. You did not give me less because I was harder to love. The room was silent. You gave me less because I was easier to neglect. My father looked away first. For years, I had imagined that the right sentence would finally make them understand. Standing there, I realized understanding had never been the problem. They had understood my pain. They simply believed I would remain useful afterward. My mother lowered her voice. You have destroyed this family. I handed the fountain pen back to my father. Number. Then I placed the unsigned release on the stage. I stopped volunteering to be the part of the family you destroy. I walked down the steps. Cole followed me. Behind us, Aunt Denise confronted my parents. You told us she was lying. Uncle Ray asked why they had threatened my job. Tessa demanded to know whether Landon had ever cared about a smaller wedding. Voices rose. For once, none of them were asking me to fix it. Cole and I walked into the cold night. At the truck, I turned toward him. You should have told me more about Mercer Ridge. I know. I'm still angry. You should be. I don't want a man who thinks protecting me means controlling the information I receive. I understand. And the farmhouse is not ours unless we inspect it together, agree on the cost, and decide together. Yes. No more secret plans. No more. I studied him. You did not arrange tonight without me. Number. You gave me the recordings and let me decide. Yes. Some of the tension left my shoulders. Good. He opened the passenger door. Ready to leave. I looked back at Riverstone Hall. Through the windows, I could see my mother standing alone near the stage, while relatives questioned my father. Tessa sat at a table with her engagement ring resting in her palm. Landon was talking rapidly into his phone. I felt no triumph. Only relief. Yes, I said. I'm ready. We drove away in the old blue truck. No one photographed it this time. Yeah. The money returned to my grandmother's account 4 business days later. When I turned 30, the remaining funds transferred fully into my control. My parents owed a smaller amount that had already been spent on planning and vendors. Evelyn arranged monthly repayment. I chose not to drag the fight through years of hearings and fees. I had proven what mattered. I had not agreed. They had known it. Everyone else knew it now, too. The family group chat became quiet. Aunt Denise sent a short message. I should have asked you before believing them. I'm sorry. It did not repair everything, but it was more honest than my mother's first letter. My parents did not host their usual Christmas dinner. My mother told relatives she was taking a break from entertaining. A cousin later told me the real reason. Too many people declined. For the first time, the walnut table my mother protected more carefully than either daughter did not have enough people to fill it. Tessa ended her engagement to Landon in January. The relationship did not survive the loss of the venue, the sponsorships, and the image they had built around the wedding. I heard he suggested postponing the marriage until she rebuilt her online engagement. She asked whether he would marry her at the county courthouse. He told her it would be bad for the brand. She returned the ring the next day. I did not celebrate, but I was not surprised. Cole and I purchased the farmhouse in March. We did it slowly, together. We reviewed the inspection, the loan, the ownership agreement, and every repair estimate at the kitchen table in our duplex. Nothing was hidden. Nothing was decided for me. The house needed more work than either of us expected. The porch had to be raised. Part of the plumbing was replaced. We removed 3 layers of wallpaper from the upstairs hall and discovered that one bedroom window had been sealed shut with paint. I kept my job at the medical supply company. On evenings and weekends, I learned how to sand, trim, repair plaster, and clean 100 years of soot from old brick. Some days, the house felt like another problem I had volunteered to solve. Then I remembered the difference. I had chosen this one. The damage was honest. A pipe leaked and left water. A floor weakened and sagged. The house did not smile across a dinner table and call harm generosity. By autumn, the porch stood level. The fireplace was open again. Warm light shone through new windows. Cole and I married in the field behind the farmhouse. There were 38 guests. Cynthia brought 3 pies. Evelyn wore red glasses and cried through the vows. Cole's crew built tables from reclaimed barn wood. My childhood friend arranged wildflowers in mismatched glass jars. There were no sponsors, no champagne wall, no performance. My parents were not invited. Neither was Tessa. That decision hurt. For several weeks, I imagined my mother telling people I had excluded her to be cruel. Then I understood that I could not build a peaceful life around preventing dishonest people from telling dishonest stories. Just before the ceremony, a message arrived from Tessa. I almost left it unopened. It said, "I understand why I'm not there. I knew you had not agreed, and I accepted the wedding anyway. I hope today is beautiful." I read it twice. I did not invite her at the last minute. I did not tell her everything was forgiven. But I believed the message. That was enough for one day. Cole wore the same charcoal suit he had worn at Riverstone Hall. His old truck was parked beside the barn. Nobody used it to measure his value. Our vows were simple. He promised honesty, partnership, and no major property decisions without a complete conversation. That made everyone laugh. I promised to ask for help before silence turned into resentment. When we kissed, the mountains were gold beneath the evening sun. Later, I stood on the restored porch and looked through the open windows. Friends moved between rooms carrying plates. Children ran down the hallway. Music played beside the fireplace we had uncovered together. The house no longer looked abandoned. Neither did I. Almost 2 years after Thanksgiving, a car stopped at the end of our driveway. Tessa stepped out. Her hair was shorter. She wore jeans, a plain sweater, and no visible makeup. There was no phone in her hand. I remained in the rocking chair on the porch. She walked toward me slowly. "I should have called," she said. "Yes. I didn't think you would answer. You were probably right." She stopped at the bottom step. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she looked at the farmhouse. "It's beautiful." "Thank you. Mom said Cole bought it for you." "Mom says many things." Tessa nodded. "I know." I waited. She looked down at her hands. "Landon used to say you were jealous of me. He said many things too. I believed him because it was easier." Her voice trembled. "It was easier to believe you wanted my life than admit my life kept being built from things taken away from you." I gripped the arm of the chair. She continued, "When Mom told me they had booked Laurel Crest, I knew you had not agreed. I didn't ask where the money came from because I wanted the venue." She looked at me. "I knew Landon called your job. I told him he had gone too far, but I didn't make him correct it." My chest tightened. "I made the video because Mom said if enough people supported me, you would stop fighting." The apology was not pretty. It did not protect her. That was why I believed it. "I am sorry," she said. 2 direct words. Not "I'm sorry everyone was hurt." Not "I'm sorry things became ugly." "I am sorry." "Why are you here now?" I asked. "Mom wants another family dinner." I almost laughed. She said enough time has passed. Of course she did. "She asked me to convince you to come." "And will you?" "Number." The answer came immediately. I told her moving on does not mean you have to return to the same table. I looked at the empty rocking chair beside me. Then I looked at Tessa. I don't know what we will be. That's fair. I nodded toward the chair. She climbed the steps and sat down. I did not hug her. I did not promise forgiveness. We spoke for 20 minutes. It was not reconciliation. It was one honest conversation. For the first time, that was enough. After she left, Cole came outside carrying 2 cups of coffee. "How are you?" he asked. "I don't know." "That's allowed." I watched Tessa's car disappear beyond the trees. She apologized. Really apologized. Yes. "What happens now?" "Nothing dramatic." Cole handed me a cup. Maybe nothing dramatic is good. We sat in silence as evening settled across the field. The porch stood strong beneath us. The roof did not leak. The brick fireplace glowed through the front windows. My mother had been right about one thing. I did recover. But recovery was never proof that the wound did not matter. Strength was not how quietly I could be hurt. It was how clearly I could say, "This ends with me." It was choosing a smaller table where nobody had to earn a chair. It was accepting an apology without immediately reopening every locked door. It was understanding that love without respect was not loyalty. It was only another debt I had been trained to pay. My parents tried to take the future my grandmother had left me. Instead, they forced me to build one that no longer depended on their approval. I recovered the money. I recovered my voice. I recovered the right to decide who belonged inside my life. And once I had that back, there was nothing left for them to take. So let me ask you, if your parents secretly used your inheritance for the child they always favored, then demanded that you publicly approve it, would you forgive them for the sake of family, or would you finally choose yourself?